Hey everyone, I hope everyone's having a great long weekend. I'm a little bit personally upset because obviously of the Bulldogs losing on the weekend, and I didn't have much luck in two up over Anzac Day, but it is what it is. But in this week's update of Premier Properties, I do have a few updates. So first things first, I do just want to update everyone the inner city Newcastle property that rented for about $800 a week, that is gone. Now also another property that is gone is that dual income one in inner Brisbane that sold very quickly, as I imagined. The final property in that I was mentioning in inner Melbourne is also gone. This week, though, I do have a few updates. So I still got the dual income one in inner Melbourne, brick, veneer, and tile, around 600 metre square block, really good, about 10, 11K in the CBD. Purchase price probably around that 870 to 900,000. Look, you'll probably get around $800 to $850 a week rent for this really good opportunity. Great capital growth suburb. I do have also another one in Melbourne's inner west, in one of my sort of favourite suburbs too. That is probably going to be purchased for, I'd say, low 900,000, so about 950. Probably around $750 a week rent, to 700 to 750. Good there. Walking distance from a train station. Really good demographics of the suburb. Good one to consider as well. I think that will be one that you will have a lot of growth for, and you probably have quite a bit of equity on the way in because it's well below the suburb median as well. I've got one in inner Newcastle as well, that is on a harbourside suburb. Look, purchase price probably around the $900,000 mark. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom home. It's on a small original lot, but its location is exceptional. So that's the reason for the price and also the high rent, $750 a week rent, about that. And the final one is actually an interesting one I've actually got too, and it's in inner Geelong, but previously with the price they wanted for it, so they wanted about 550,000 for it, and it basically, the suburb I'm talking about basically neighbours East Geelong. Now, I'd obviously previously talked to the agent about this property. They wanted too much for it for what I thought it was worth, so I just kind of sat on it. But funny enough, after two up yesterday, I was speaking to the agent about it, and he called me and said that, the guy actually needs to sell now and will consider lower offers. So I actually think it may be possible to purchase for maybe $510,000. But I mean, the numbers at that mark work very well because I've got bank vals, desktop vals on this before, and some of them come back at about 538, others have come back at 547, depending on the lender. So if you were to pick it up for 510 or so, you're walking into really like around $30,000 plus worth of immediate equity value if you wanted to refinance across, especially if you're buying, for long term. This property in inner Geelong, it is a brick veneer home. It's on about a 550 square metre block. It also has previously been rented. So the good news about that is if it's previously been rented, it would mean it would be compliant. My imagination is you probably won't have anything major on this property in terms of pest and building report. Look, it hasn't had one done, like a lot of other properties in Melbourne and Geelong. But the very fact that it's compliant in terms of rental terms is a good thing. But yeah, that's my update. Look, people that have reached out about Premier Properties, if you are interested, I strongly suggest you reach out quicker because, as I said, these sorts of properties generally sell within 2 to 3 weeks, and speed really, especially when the market is starting to move, and it is, that's really what actually, should I say, improves your ability to land one of these deals for a good price and with really good return. Because I had people reaching out about a property, the property in Brisbane, for example, and kind of sitting on their heels and all that kind of thing. And I mean, the issue I was trying to tell people was a deal like this makes sense. People who know what they're talking about aren't stupid, so they will buy it. That's the thing. When you sit on your heels and a good deal's there, all it takes is basically one person to come up and then go in, bid the right amount, secure the deal, and the deal's done. And those deals don't come up very often. So for these sorts of deals, it really makes sense for someone like that. For someone with an under 600,000 budget, the inner Geelong property would make most sense, especially if you want to build a portfolio and your budget is, let's say, maybe under 600,000 or 700,000, because it won't barbecue your borrowing capacity. For those who are anti-Victoria, I'd say the one I have in inner Newcastle is a good opportunity. You do need about 900,000 to be able to afford it, but you'll get around 4% yield, which is really good mark. And for those that do not care one bit about, should I say, the location, but they just want to invest purely for the best growth, your two best options are definitely my inner Melbourne ones. One you'll probably need about 900,000 for, but you'll get about 840 a week rent. The difference with the two of them, though, is the second one is in a better location in terms of demographics. So your capital growth will be slightly higher and your bank values will also be better. So for someone who has, let's say, a budget of maybe $1.5+ million and wants to build that portfolio, the latter property that is in a better suburb will have higher vals where you can immediately probably pull out equity from a lot of major lenders. So that's the key difference for whoever's wanting to purchase. But again, reach out via www.compoundinvest.com.au. I do free 30-minute consults, so you can just book that via Inquire on my website. But I hope everyone had a lot of better luck in terms of 2-up than I did over this weekend because, this year was just a shocker. But have a great rest of your long week, everyone, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks.
Accessing Premier Properties is simple. First of all, go to the main page at www.compoundinvest.com.au. Once you're on this page, go to the menu item, What We Do, and you'll see a link to Premier Properties. Click the link, and from there it will ask you basically to fill in your details and sign up. So you need to put your name, phone number, and email address. Once you have done that, click Submit. Go back out of the website and then go back into Premier Properties. You will therefore then have access to Premier Properties here, by which you can see what's available, the rough capital growth and the rough rental yield of each property. If you're interested in these properties, therefore click Action where it says View More. Once you then click this, it'll show you basically the metrics. Now, to get full access to this, you will need to reach out via Inquire. From there, you will be sent a agency agreement by which we can get access to the property and ideally close the deal for you. Please reach out if any of these properties are of interest to you, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks.